So Counter-Strike 2 released, and I heard that a lot of new players joined the game. So I thought to myself, I'll do a short video, I hope it's short, where I go over some basic stuff so all the new players can have a smoother entrance into the game, because this game is kind of rough, not gonna lie. It took me long enough to learn all the complex mechanics in Counter-Strike, and I'm still learning. So I don't want anyone else to also spend so much time like I did to learn all this stuff. Now, without wasting any more of your time, let's jump right into it. So let's start with number one, and that would be weapon usage. There are three main ways to use your weapon in Counter-Strike. Number one would be spraying your gun. Number two would be bursting. And number three would be tapping. And the important part here is that you have to know in which situation you're gonna use which method of shooting. For an example on Mirage would be if you're T-side and you're gonna pick the guy on mid, you're probably not gonna swing around and start spraying and hope that you hit one of your shots. You're probably just gonna swing and start bursting at him. Or start tapping. At this distance, it doesn't really matter if you burst or tap, just do what you're more comfortable with. Another example would be here on B, is when you play this corner here. I'm sorry for my voice, guys, I'm kinda sick. So the second example would be if you're on Mirage and holding B house, like doesn't matter if you hold it from here. If you see they're gonna rush you, like you can hear them, you're probably not gonna start tapping when they start pushing you. You're probably just gonna end up spraying. And an example for bursting would be if you're holding action from triple, that you would peek, burst and hide again, and peek, burst, hide again. You wouldn't run out and start like crowd spraying, you would just end up dying. The most efficient thing would here to just peek, burst, hide. That's one of the hardest things about weapons after recoil control, which I'm going to talk about in a second here, is that to decide if you're going to start spraying. Bro, this voice cracks, I'm so sick, guys, I'm sorry. The hardest part would be to decide if you're gonna spray, tap, or burst. I hope my examples kind of help you to understand when to spray, burst, and tap. After you play for a while, you're gonna know that your distance that you're comfortable with spraying, tapping, and bursting. So on the second part, oh my god, that would be understanding the recoil patterns of the most common weapons. That would be the AK and the M4s. The AK and the M4 have pretty similar recoil patterns. The M4s are just a bit easier to control. I'm not going to go into detail with how the spray patterns look on all weapons. I'm going to show you just the example of the AK because it's probably the most commonly used weapon in the game and the hardest to control under the commonly used rifles. So without me controlling the pattern, it would look something like this. Did you saw how the pattern just went up, then to the left, to the right, to the left, and then to the right again a bit? You just have to do the same thing but reverse. If it goes up, you go down, and if it goes to the left, you go to the right, and if it goes to the right, you go to the left. It sounds pretty easy, but it's one of the hardest things in the game. I will show you now how it would look when I try to control the spray. So this is, oh, now the weapon's empty. So this is how it would look if you try to control the spray. So now there's one more thing that would be crouching. If I crouch and start to spray, it will look exactly the same, but a bit more compact, like it will be easier to control the weapon. If you are struggling to learn the spray standing, just try learning it in crouching. But I would not recommend always crouching when you shoot, but that's a point I will talk about later in the video. Number two would be crosshair placement, and crosshair placement means like to have your crosshair always at head level, where the enemy's head would be if I go around the corner. For example, if I would peek this angle here, I wouldn't peek around like this, because I had to flick up to the enemy's head to kill him, or the body, or the chest. And also I wouldn't go around like looking into random parts of the wall, for example like this, because then I had to flick this way. So you have to find the perfect sweet spot that will come with map knowledge and with practice where to aim before you go around the corner. Another thing about crosshair placement is that you have to have it on the head level, but it doesn't bring you anything if you have it on the head level and run out like this, because you still have to adapt. Like right now I'm just aiming into the wall, and in none of the 10 cases, no one's gonna stand on the bench and aim into action. So I still have to flick a lot to get into the enemy. That would be, for example, on triple at this situation. Things you have to learn is like aiming at head level, yes, but also pre-aiming like the most common spots from the enemies. So when you go around like this corner, you're not gonna aim at the trash or the bench or the trash. You're just gonna work yourself to triple. So if I come around like this, I'm already gonna be ready. I'm not gonna aim to the bench and come out. I'm gonna place my crosshair onto the edge and come around with it. If I walk to the right, my hand goes to the left, so it can flick easily onto his head. That would be like putting the both most important things, our crosshair placement, together. So the best way to get better at crosshair placement is to log onto a map and pick T side. So if you had an entrance on the bomb side, just start pre-aiming the most commonly used spots. On Mirage it would be here, next to the stairs, up on the stairs, or here. And if I go out here, I'm gonna look triple. aim CT and then aim the box close here. So that's probably the best way to get better crosshair placement and also know the maps better. If you do this every day for like 10 minutes a day, sooner or later you're gonna know the map layout. Like if I go around here, I'm gonna know after the 10th time that there is the corner where the op likes to stand, or up there for example, or people like to hide up here. So just do that and you will get to know the map better, and you also will improve your crosshair placement. Obviously there are more maps than just Mirage to practice crosshair placements on, and yes, you have to go through all of them, but it's gonna come with time and you're gonna improve sooner or later, I promise. So let's get to number 3, and that would be movement. There are three main ways to move in Counter-Strike. There's walking, obviously, then there's shifting and crouching, and it's like shooting your gun. As I said before, while shooting you have like tap firing, bursting and spraying, and the same principles also apply on moving. You have to know when to shift, when to crouch and when to run. So there are two things new players tend to do wrong with movement, and that would be like moving and shooting. That's not a thing, guys. If I move and shoot, the bullets will go anywhere. It doesn't matter how I move. If I shift and shoot, it's still going anywhere. And also if I jump and shoot, it's still going anywhere. The second thing new players tend to do wrong when it's about movement is like crouching and shifting around corners. When I crouch, guys, my hitbox and my body is gonna get wider. So if I peek around the corner like this guy over there, he can't see me already if I go around like this, but I can see him. And also if I shift, he can see me already, but I can't see him. I barely can see him if I go another step. Those are the most things new players tend to do wrong when it's about movement. So now you probably will ask, well, how do I move around the corner? What the hell? So now I'm gonna try to teach you how to move around the map and shoot at enemies, because it's not gonna work if I run around like this and shoot him. I'm not gonna hit him in most cases, lol. Now how do you peek someone without obviously crouching or shifting around the corner? There's a thing called counter strafing. That is where you move into a specific direction. For example, if I move to the left now, I could press A to move to the left, but then I have to press D again to stop myself while I'm moving to get the perfect accuracy. You gotta press A and then D to stop for a second, shoot and do it again. And obviously if you get more comfortable, you can do it like a bit faster. There are like two ways how you can use counter strafing to peek someone. First one would be if you try to check a corner, for example triple at this in this situation, you would just press A, D and then start shooting. Or go in and go out again by pressing A, D, shoot, go back. The second way you could peek someone with a counter strafe is if you wide swing. Wide swing is when you try to bait an enemy to shoot you, just to know where he's positioned. In this case, it would be a triple. I would jiggle peek until he shoots at me, so I know his position. I would wide swing. And then I start obviously counter strafing and shooting at him. That is the usual method if you try to kill an AWP. Like if you would have an AWP, you would try to bait a shot and then you would wide swing and try to kill him. So now I talked like 2 hours about crosshair placement and shooting and moving and shooting. And now I'm just gonna tell you that aiming is not everything. It's probably not even 50% of the game. A big part of the game also is game sense. Game sense means understanding the game. That would be some, for example, map knowledge falls under game sense. Timings, also to position yourself according to your enemy movements, and taking advantage of cover and good angles, for example, also counts into game sense. And also predicting the enemy movement if you're in a 1v1 clutch. Let's act like he's here and he's smoking arch and you're hiding in this corner here. You could wait for him to come and hope he doesn't check you or end you in the aim duel. Or you could walk up to the smoke while he's trying to walk around it. Walk into the smoke, wait a few seconds and come out again so that you end up behind him. So you end up get the better position than he does. And then you don't even need good aim because like crouch and spray into his back and he would be dead. So that's also a big part of Counter-Strike. It's like reading your enemy movements and outplaying it according to that. I would also like to give you an example on timing. Let's pretend there's a T that is like pre-firing this van because it's like a commonly used angle, and you're up here as in CT and hiding, and you hear him reloading. Then you could swing and kill him while he's reloading and use the bad timing of him where he's reloading to kill him. Another example of the same scenario could be that the T is again here pre-firing like the van, and you're hiding here on this small table, and your team on A is saying it's becoming an A execute, and the guy on B was just faking to keep you busy on B to give his team on A a better chance to get the execute done. And then your team calls it's A, and you hear how the T is moving now, like he shot, he baited you, and now he's running away. And right after you hear his steps, in most cases in like lower elo, people will run away like this, turn their back to the open area and just run away like this. And after you do that, you could use that timing where you hear his steps and just swing the corner and kill him into his back. This will probably work like 9 out of 10 times in lower elos. In higher elo, if you're playing against some experienced players, they probably just will step away like this and still hold the angle. And after you're out of sight, then they will start running around with their back. So number 5 is communication, guys. I know a lot of people hate talking in voice chat, especially in lower elos. The higher you come in the elo, the more the people will talk, I promise you. So even if you can't hit shit in the game right now, or you don't have the game sense to outplay your enemy, the least thing you can do is communicate with your team. The last thing I have on my list for the more basic stuff is utility usage. I'm not gonna go too in-depth with utility because utility is a pretty complex thing. Like there are a million different lineups where you can throw smokes, you can throw molotovs on different lineups, you can throw some insane pop flashes. In the beginning, just keep it simple, guys. The most common mistakes people do with using grenades when they start off beginning Counter-Strike is, as I said, overthinking it with insane lineups and also not knowing when to use nades. So an example for when and when not to use nades is when I'm in CT, for example, and I come out of CT spawn and I want to play this corner right there. I walk and I see already like flashes and maybe smokes flying onto the side. Don't even bother with going here, taking out your weapon and then taking out your smoke, because they will always already be here, around somewhere around here and here. And while they swing you, they will catch you with a nade in your hand. Either you hold the angle like a real man and do an ace, or you just fall back into underwood and then you can set up your nade. What I like to do is when I stand right here and I see they are like trying to rush and I know I can't throw a smoke or a molotov, I'm just gonna fall back into this corner here. I'm gonna flash against the wall up there. Like you can see where the flash will bang on the camera there. And this will pretty much flash anyone who runs out. And you will flash yourself in the back. So that would be when to use a nade and when not to use a nade. I hope I could kind of give you a picture when and when not to use nades. Obviously, after you get more experience in the game, you know when to use a nade and when not to use a nade, because you will fail a lot and you will die like 100 times with a nade in your hand until you get it that you don't should take a nade in your hand in the situation. It's like a learning process, right? There's like, you can never get perfect in Counter-Strike. There's always something you can do better. So guys, that's it. I hope I could help you. But before you leave, I want to mention that you should remember that Counter-Strike is a game where it is about consistency. So you have to play a lot to get better. Don't overdo it though. Like don't play like for 6-7 hours straight, because you're gonna burn out and hate the game afterwards. But never forget that it's gonna take a long time to get good at this game. I hope I could help you guys. And if so, consider leaving a like or even subscribing. And see you next time. Ciao!